In the NBA, you have Adam Silver. In the NFL, you have Roger Goodell. In the NHL, you have Gary Bettman. And in Major League Baseball, you have Rob Manfred. All of these guys are commissioners of their respective leagues. Of the four, one of them exceeds the other three as far as how bad he is, and unfortunately, it's the man running the ship for Major League Baseball. Ever since he's taken the job, Rob Manfred has done everything he can with the owners to paint the players as being greedy, didn't suspend any of the Houston Astros players that cheated, proceeded to suspend a player for throwing at them and taunting them because he was mad that they cheated, called the World Series trophy a piece of metal, cost people millions of dollars in the Atlanta area, had MLB use 2 different baseballs without telling anyone, and has gotten Major League Baseball into a lockout for the first time in over 25 years. As for the players, well, they don't like him. In fact, a player even once hit a home run because he imagined the ball was Rob Manfred's face. Bud Selig was someone who changed a lot for baseball throughout his years as commissioner. Some of the things on his resume are moving the Milwaukee Brewers from the American League to the National League, moving the Houston Astros from the National League to the American League, began wildcard playoff spots, expanded baseball with the Arizona Diamondbacks and Tampa Bay Rays, dedicated April 15th to Jackie Robinson Day, and more. Selig also increased revenue by 400% during his time as commissioner, along with record-breaking attendance. Even with all these accomplishments, many people look at Selig as the man who turned a blind eye to the steroid use across baseball. In fact, the steroid scandal got so out of hand to the point where the issue was taken in front of Congress at the Capitol. Selig and several players were there to answer questions about what was going on, and this was certainly not the best thing for baseball. Overall, Selig did do many good things for the game, and all of his accolades actually got him a place into the Hall of Fame. And then, on August 14th, 2014, Major League Baseball owners elected Rob Manfred to be baseball's next commissioner after Bud Selig, and would go on to officially take over the job on January 25th, 2015. Manfred stated that his biggest, most important goals as commissioner were youth outreach, embracing technology, quickening the pace of play, strengthening player relations, and, listen to this last one, creating a more unified business operation. How'd that work out? Before 2020, there was nothing Manfred did that was blatantly bad, but he already had his haters. And then 2020 came along, and not only did those haters have more of a reason to hate, but there were more made. In 2020, it was officially revealed that the Houston Astros had been using an electronic illegal sign stealing system to cheat during games during the 2017 season and for part of 2018. None of the players got suspended because they were offered immunity during the investigation. Astros manager AJ Hinch was suspended for a year, so was Astros general manager Jeff Luhnow. The team was fined $5 million, which is the maximum the league can fine a team, and the Astros lost their first and second round draft picks of both the 2020 and 2021 draft. Right away, people were not happy with this punishment, especially with the fact that none of the players faced any penalties, and they wanted more. 2017, as we all know, was the Astros' first championship in franchise history, and it was proven that in addition to stealing signs during the regular season, they cheated during the postseason that year too. Many suggested an obvious way of punishment for the Astros would be for Manfred to strip their 2017 title and take away the trophy, but Manfred chose not to. Why? Because to him, it's a piece of metal. The exact quote from Manfred came when he was asked during an interview. Quote, "The idea of an asterisk or asking for a piece of metal back seems like a futile act. People will always know that something was different about the 2017 season, and whether we made that decision right or wrong, we undertook a thorough investigation and have the intestinal fortitude to share the results of that investigation, even when those results were not very pretty." End quote. The fans were not happy, and neither were the players. Justin Turner of the Dodgers had this to say, quote, "I don't know if the commissioner has ever won anything in his life. Maybe he hasn't. But the reason every guy's in this room, the reason every guy's working out all offseason and showing up to camp early and putting in all the time and effort is specifically for that trophy, which, by the way, is called the Commissioner's Trophy." End quote. John Lester then chimed in that Manfred should take his name off of the trophy. Manfred later tried to backtrack his statement by saying it was disrespectful and a mistake, but that doesn't take away the fact that he genuinely looked at baseball's biggest accomplishment as some item that wouldn't have any impact if taken from Houston. Just think about how big it would have been if the Astros had their 2017 title stripped. They would have had to take the banner down, the trophy would be gone, everything that happened in 2017 would have been completely for naught, and as for the World Series rings, you obviously can't take those away from the players, but they wouldn't mean anything anymore. but per usual, a huge missed opportunity for Manfred. After the 2020 pandemic began, baseball was suspended for 2 weeks before getting suspended indefinitely, and the lead up to a 60-game season was a nightmare, with it getting to the point that Manfred even said himself that he wasn't confident in a 2020 season even happening. The shortened 2020 season went on to occur, but Manfred almost killed it. Before the season began, Manfred made it clear that he wouldn't tolerate opposing teams throwing at Astros players. Dodgers reliever Joe Kelly didn't care though, throwing at Alex Bregman during a game between the Dodgers and Astros, and then taunting Carlos Correa with his now famous pouting face after striking him out to end the inning. Kelly ended up being suspended for 8 games even though he never actually hit any Astros player. So not only did Manfred slap the Astros on the wrist for cheating, but basically protected them from other teams retaliating for Houston's wrongdoing. You then have the 2021 All-Star Game debacle. The All-Star Game in 2021 was slated to take place at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia, but due to political reasons, Manfred decided to take the All-Star festivities out of the city and move it to Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. The reason was because Major League Baseball, or at least the people influencing Major League Baseball, felt that the new Georgia voting reform law disproportionately disenfranchises the black community. Many people opposed this move by Manfred, including the Atlanta Braves themselves, saying that businesses, employees, and fans in Georgia are the victims of this decision, and that couldn't be more of the truth. Taking the All-Star Game out of the majority black city of Atlanta cost businesses over $70 million. Thanks, Rob Manfred. During the negotiation talks between Major League Baseball and the Players Association, a report came out which talked about how Rob Manfred knowingly told Major League Baseball to use 2 different baseballs based on the teams playing. You then have the lockout that started up, something Rob Manfred and Major League Baseball implemented, and the letter sent out by Manfred wasn't necessarily a great or reassuring one. What he did was basically throw the Major League Players Association under the bus, and although blame should be put on both sides, it's not necessarily the best look to put all that blame on one side and say that the Players Party gave you no other choice than to start a lockout. The Players Association's relationship with the owners is at an all-time low, and a lot of that blame goes to Manfred. To really get an idea on how hated Rob Manfred is, take a look over at Nicolas Castianos. After a benches clearing incident that took place between the Cardinals and Reds, Nicolas Castianos was suspended for 2 games. He never tried to fight anybody, and all he did was show emotion and flex over the Cardinals pitcher that hit him earlier in that inning. But nonetheless, Manfred suspended him. Castellanos was not happy, and so were Reds fans. So during a game between the Reds and Rockies in Colorado, a traveling Reds fan decided to take matters into his own hands while Nick was up to bat, yelling at him to imagine the baseball as Rob Manfred's face. On the next pitch, he hit it out for a home run. Castellanos went on to let the fan speak for himself during the post-game interview.
Nick, when he got up there, that he should imagine that Rob Manfred's face was on the baseball. And the next pitch, he lit it up over the fence, baby. Alrighty.
Yeah, nobody likes Rob Manfred. Let me know what you think about Rob Manfred, and thank you for watching.